Some of you were curious why I didn't talk about gunks when I was talking about Monk's fundamental builds. The main reason for that is I don't expect most D&D campaigns to allow muskets to be part of the weapon system. And the ones that do might have restricted ammo that you can only get it from a certain location, and it might be pretty dang pricey. If they make you track that ammo, that price can actually be a big downside to being a gunk, a gun-based monk. So in other words, I'd say whether or not you can even be a gunk is going to be inconsistent. However, it is a popular enough build that for the sake of this video, let's pretend that your DM is allowing it. Let's discuss. The gunk combines a musket with the gunner feat. The gunner feat allows us not to have the loading property, so we can still use our multi-attack and our bonus action attack, and it's going to allow us to also fight in melee, so we can be a gun kata monk. We can be kind of this taijutsu fighter who can also shoot guns at the same time, which has very visceral imagery and a lot of people are going to love. Furthermore, the musket is a D12 damage die, so we're increasing our damage from probably a D8 to a D12, which is a fairly significant increase. Now, as for our ki, we're obviously not going to be spending it on stunning strikes. We're not going to be punching people, we're going to be shooting them. So where we're getting our damage is going to come from ki-fueled strikes. Now, ki-fueled strikes let us do a bonus action attack, but we have to spend a ki during our action. Now, how are we going to do that? Now, the way all monks can use is focused aim. Focused aim allows us to take a miss and potentially turn it into a hit by spending some ki. And on top of that, we can use a bonus action to attack. So it can be very efficient. It can change one miss into 2 hits of D12 damage. Now, this is how a standard monk would do it, but then you can mix in your subclass. Your subclass might have action ki spending, and we can always weave in these bonus action kind of sniper D12 shots, which is really nice for someone like a 4 elements monk, because you can, cast your fireball and then snipe someone. So it kind of fits together. Now, because we're range based, we have pretty strong defenses just off the back of our mobility and range. We might have 50-foot movement speed with a 40-foot range, so we can shoot somebody and get into cover pretty easily and be very mobile and hard to pin down and deal good damage at the same time. So we have good defense and good offense. So I can see why people like it so much. As for the subclasses that might want to consider being a gunk, they're going to be the exact same subclasses you might want to consider being an archer. So if there's a subclass that's really wisdom focused and wants to do a wisdom based build, gunk's probably not for you. If you're wanting to be a hit and runner in melee, gunk's probably not for you. Where it shines is somebody who's dex based and wants to keep some defensive range. I'm thinking Kensei, I'm thinking Way of the 4 Elements monk, Sun Soul maybe, and definitely Shadow Monk are ones I'm considering. Kensei gets a special mention because for the base monk, you have to miss in order to get this bonus action attack. Kenseis can always get the bonus action attack whenever they want. Kenseis get a shout out here as well. But yeah, rule of thumb, if it's an archer, it could be a gunk as well. So let's actually compare this archery fighting style to a gunk. Let's take the Kensei, for example, who is a very strong archer, I think the strongest of the monk archers. Where gunk is better is that it has a D12 instead of a D8, as previously mentioned. Where it's worse is that the archery build has much further range. Furthermore, the archery build only needs sharpshooter, where with the gunk, you might want to be taking sharpshooter as well as the gunner feat, meaning that we're going to be behind on 1 ASI, which means we're going to always be behind on defense and a bit on offense as well, because we were only doing 2 damage on average more. Well, that becomes 1 if we're behind in dex. Of course, eventually we'll get to that 2 again, but you just have to consider that that +1 for them is not only damage, it's also 2 hit. Another advantage on the side of archers is that getting ammo for them is not that difficult, where it may be for a gunk, and expensive. Another advantage the gunk has is that they don't need to disengage if they get in melee combat. They can fight with their gun up close, where if you were a Kensei archer, you'd probably have to draw out a D8 weapon at that point, pull out your staff or something like that to fight them in melee. So would I say that the gunk is stronger than the archer? If so, not by much. I think they're very comparable builds, and I think it's more about the flavor. If you're excited about doing gun kata, fighting in melee and kind of shooting at the same time, then that's the reason you should be gunk. But if your campaign isn't going to allow gunk and you want to do something with an archery build, just do it. It's going to be nearly as good, if not as good. So I know gunks have kind of been a big fad, and they're kind of seen as the best of the ranged monks. I don't particularly agree with that. I think that an archery monk is just as good. But I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Did I miss anything? Let me know. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel and getting some cool benefits at the same time, consider checking out our Patreon. But other than that, my friends, hope you have yourselves an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you then. Bye.